And here's the part I really want you to sit with. This is the best time in history to become an entrepreneur. This is your opportunity to take charge of your destiny and become an expert in this and see the big picture. Most people think if you've never built software with AI, you think you got to learn how to code. They say, I got to learn Python. I got to learn Ruby on Rails. Well, it's nice if you know these things. And I think I'm never going to discourage you from not learning the basics of it. But the reality is you don't really need to know how to type in code. But what you do need in this new economy and where everything is going is you need to learn to think like an architect. With every AI tool, every AI situation, this AI economy, you need to stop being a specialist and start being someone who can see the big picture. And this is definitely true with building software with AI. I've shipped 35 plus production systems this way over the last 18 months from the automotive industry, construction, finance, private equity. And what I want to show you today is kind of behind the scenes, inside baseball of how my projects are structured. I'm going to teach you my method. I'm going to show you a real project that was built with it. In fact, the project launcher that I just completed a couple weeks ago was built using this method. I didn't build the tool about the method. I built it with the method, every file, every step. And I'm going to open it up for you and show you how it's structured. So here's where most people go wrong when they're vibe coding, right? You open up these tools, Cursor, Lovable, Replit, Claude Code, Codex, and you describe what you want. And you ask for code, you ask for me this, and you're amazed. It almost works. You get a pretty good minimal viable product in record time. And then you're like, hey, what if it did this? It'd be cool if it did that. You go back and forth. And eventually what happens, the chat starts to get long, multiple chats. The chats get compressed. You start a new chat, trying to get the context right, because the context window just keeps shrinking and shrinking as you're building and building and building. New decisions start to contradict old ones. The AI forgets what you told it because it was in 3 other chats ago. And you end up with something that mostly works with a pile of edge cases that really nobody wants to fix. And then it really starts to fall apart when you're about 80% done. I've seen it time and time again. And that's not the tool's fault. It's not the AI failing. It's really a structure and discipline problem. The AI is going to try to please you. It's going to try to improvise any blank holes or unknowns that it doesn't know. And they'll apply business rules, they'll apply logic. And really only you actually know how it's supposed to work. You need to document it. You haven't wrote them down or you haven't documented how it's supposed to work, then the AI is going to improvise. So let me show you the fix. Let me show you the difference here. If you think about for decades, software meant you had to type everything line by line. You got to learn the nuances of the code. I get it. Now, these coding tools, they type all the lines for you now. They do the heavy lifting. The part is basically solved, and they do a really good job at it. So the rare skill isn't learning the nuances of these languages of the code. It's nice if you know a little bit about it. In fact, I encourage you to know some about it because you need to learn how to read it. But what's really key and what's critical and what's going to define your success is knowing what to build and the outcomes that you want, and then directing these tools, i.e. the builder, which I call the Codex tool, and the architect, which I call the large language model, ChatGPT or Claude Code, and your builder is Codex or Claude Code or Lovable or Cursor or Anti-Gravity, whatever the case may be. But you've got to stop thinking like a bricklayer. Those days are over. The days of the specialists are over. You need to learn how to become the big picture architect, right? That is key. You have to embrace that. I learned this the hard way, computer science degree way back in the Stone Ages, 1991. Then I did 35 years of flying with the Marines and then with American Airlines. And what my professors drilled into me back in 88, 89, 1991 was if you're going to be successful at software engineering, 90% of it is architecting and planning, and 10% is coding. And they would always say, if you're spending more than 10% of your time on this project in the lab coding, you're a hacker. You're not a programmer. You're not a software engineer. And I took that to heart, and I just applied that same methodology to these tools that are here now, because now these tools, the fundamentals are still the same. It just, now you're allowed to be able to speed it up and do some amazing enterprise level stuff if you follow that discipline. Aviation's the same way. I don't brief a flight by saying, let's wing it. When I flew a 787 to Tokyo, we didn't just wing it. We built a plan. We ran checklists. We execute every single time because it works. Software is no different. The fundamentals stay the same, even though the tools are rapidly advancing. And that's what's key. And that's where you can be successful. Architect first, builder second. So here's the actual project folder for the project launcher, the tool that I just launched a couple weeks ago. And the whole secret of this method is right here, this folder structure. The handoff between these tools, what the tools read, is this folder structure that you're seeing. All the planning and the building was never in a chat thread. It's in this folder. Everything is documented. It's historical knowledge is one way to look at it. Quick note on what you're looking at. I'm viewing this in a tool called Obsidian. Don't get hung up on that. These are all just markdown files, plain text. It's reading a folder that's on my hard drive. Any editor can open them and AI reads them. Obsidian just renders this nicely for me in this nice format and lets me click between them like a little wiki. And you don't need this. I just like reading my project this way. So let's look at really the heart of this project is this markdown folder file called agents. This is the router. Any builder, an AI agent, or even a human, you can open this first and instantly know what this project is and the rules it has to follow. No scrolling back and forth through 3 days of chat, right? So then the next thing is planning. This is where the architect lives and probably one of the most powerful folders in the whole project, where state is constantly updated. It's a living, breathing file. It's where the things stand right now. So you instantly know what is the current state, where are we at, what has happened. Decisions is another living document. It's the house rules. So the builder will never relitigate a choice. So any decision that we make throughout the coding process, if we make a decision, we put it in here. Domain is about the business. It's about the client. It's about me, what my personality, what we're trying to do, a bigger picture about who the client is. Risks are just that. Risks that crop themselves up and that we should know about, that our client should know about as we're building the project. And then, of course, open questions, questions that haven't been resolved, questions we can take back to the client or to ourselves and remind us, hey, let's keep programming. We'll come back to this. I don't know an answer to it, but let's continue on. We'll put the questions in here. Again, living, breathing documents that change throughout the project. Now, this is my favorite part. This is the 36 architect packs. Think of this as like the architect delivering detailed drawings and plans to your general contractor to build your dream house. Each one of these is a chunk of work that my architect, i.e. ChatGPT or Claude, whatever large language model you're using as the architect, this is what they hand the builder. This isn't a demo stage. This is the real build history of my project launcher. You can see it pack by pack, start to finish. You're looking at how this tool actually got made. And each one of these packs is a detailed set of instructions that leaves no ambiguity on what the builder, i.e. Codex or Claude Code, has to do. Once the architect pack is read by the builder, creates these sprints, and these sprints have each of its own requirements broken up into chunks that correlate with the architect pack that it was designed with, where you get requirements, you get the actual blueprint with the instructions for the code, the acceptance criteria of what the builder will not finish until this meets this criteria, and then a handoff prompt that the architect has created to the builder so there's no ambiguity. And then there's a source code. But notice I'm barely looking at it. I architected this whole thing in these planning files first, then let the builder write the code to this folder from the plan. That's the 90% I was talking about. So that's the method in the open. Now, Project Launcher, the tool that I built, will actually create this file folder structure for you. It builds everything for you so you don't have to set it up by hand. So now I know a tool for building software can feel abstract, but this is the exact same method that I've used over the past 18 months to do things for real businesses. A buying group was drowning in 600 spreadsheets every quarter. 3 weeks of manual rekeying every quarter, same method, architect the plan, build from it, validate against the real quarter data. The result is they went from 3 weeks of work down to 1 day. And so this is a perfect match of how these tools can solve real problems. I used the same method to build an enterprise level software media fleet scheduler, juggling thousands of vehicles, thousands of media partners, budgets, cooldowns, 26 types of optimization rules, and a dashboard that pulls all these companies into one view. The scale changes, but the discipline stayed the same. Took me about 3 months to do. And here's the part that people skip, the part that matters the most. You, being the CEO architect, you don't have to read the code line by line. You just have to audit the outcome. You've got great tools. You've got an architect that can help you understand it, and you've got a specialist in a builder in Codex or Claude Code to help do the code. You just audit the outcome. So every sprint has that acceptance criteria that I was telling you about. You know exactly what done is supposed to mean. And so when the builder says it's finished, I just don't trust it and take its word for it. I get a sanity check with my architect and I read it myself and judge it against the criteria. I check it against that criteria, against the reality. The AI, the builder does the building, me and the architect become the judge, and that's the job that doesn't get automated, right? So the takeaway is don't go learn code. It's a lot bigger than that. You don't need to become a software engineer. You need to become the architect of your own systems, see the big picture. That's a decision that you can make today. You don't need a degree, and I'm proof of that. Yes, I got a computer science degree, but the skill set that I use to be successful in these software builds isn't really about my CS degree. It really isn't. It's about the ability to see the big picture, think like a leader, and use these tools. These are the tools that I've used to sell the method, to create these products. This is the method that I teach, and you just saw the whole paper trail. You could do this too. And here's the part I really want you to sit with. This is the best time in history to become an entrepreneur. The world is upside down, and who knows where it's going. This is your opportunity to take charge of your destiny and become an expert in this and see the big picture and change as these tools get better. They're only going to get better, faster, and cheaper. But no matter how good they get, a machine can't tell you what's worth building or whether it actually solves the problem. That takes a human who can sit down from somebody else across from them, see the big picture, the business, the people, the outcome. And that job will never get automated. And it's the job that gets more valuable as these tools get stronger. That's what I do, and that's what you can do too. You bring the big picture. Let the AI build it. So 3 things if you want to go further. Number 1, everything I just walked through, the method, there's a real example. It's in a free guide. You can link to it in the description. You get it. You can see it for yourself. You can get the architect starter prompt to start this yourself. 2, if you want to have a tool that builds that whole project folder for you up front, capture some of your idea, and then create the folder structure and something to set up your project in Claude or ChatGPT to get that personality of the architect builder method, and then start having that conversation and start writing code, you can get that here. It's the project launcher, $149, early access, lifetime, one-time fee. You'll never pay anything more. It's moving to a subscription soon, so that founding price won't last, but you can use this tool to get started, to get you set up. It removes the friction of getting started, which is the hardest part. And 3, if you rather build your system with me one-on-one, where I can work with you and get you going and get you pushed, all you need is really 4 weeks. I can get you going. I can also get you in with my other people that are in my cohort, people that are doing this, that are creating amazing things. And these are some amazing people to network with. If you want to be a part of it, you can become part of that Builder Cohort. I keep that pretty small and limited because you got to get that one-on-one attention from me, but I will get you going. I will work with you one-on-one to brainstorm and show you how to use this system to get going. And that's the Builder Cohort. There's a link down there too. So stop letting the AI guess. This is an amazing time in the history to be an entrepreneur, to start gaining financial freedom, solving problems for people, and learning a new skill. And that's the architect builder method. So I hope to see you on the inside, and I'll see you in the next video.